Hey, what's going on, crypto people? It is the Crypto Siege with another day in the life and the crazy life that is the digital asset space. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to each and every one of you. Happy Tuesday. Well, listen, the Celsius Network, I think the second day appearance in court is going on. I have been, unfortunately, I could not get on live. So I've been on a couple of Telegram groups and Twitter trying to stay updated so that I can keep you guys updated on it. And I have to tell you, very, very interesting stuff. We're going to get into that. Listen, the market is doing what the market does. The Celsius Network numbers, they filed it, I guess, yesterday or the day before, shows a hole in the billions, plural, of dollars. Not a great look. Not a great look at all. We'll get into it. So, guys, listen, this is your XRP Ripple daily news in around 0 to 10 minutes. Let's go with this market. I just refreshed the page because, you know, the market is just doing what the market does. The Bitcoin dominance is at 38.5%. The total cryptocurrency market cap is at 1.19 trillion. Bitcoin is at $23,939. Again, Ethereum is at $1,878. XRP is at 37.5 cents. Like, what in the wide world? Dogecoin goes up 21% on a 7-day in XRP. I think that is more telling than what people really understand about what they, quote unquote, are trying to do with XRP in terms of being stable. I mean, think about all the rulings in our favor, all the rulings in the favor of Ripple and us as XRP holders, and yet that price just hangs out there from 33 to 38 cents. Unbelievable. Shiba Inu is up 31.2%. The network effect is working. The network effect is working. We'll see if they'll build we'll see, besides the DeFi swap program, if they continue to build more viable stuff, then that network effect that Shiba Inu and the community has created will have more meaning to it, right? So decentralized exchange is one thing. YouTube entertainers don't know anything about Shiba. All they know is the name of Shiba. That's it. They can't even pronounce Doge the right way. So you got to take what they say with a grain of salt. So what else we got? Yeah, 7% there. So, you know, the market is doing what the market does. Crazy stuff. 41%. Chili's is up 41%. That's interesting. Why Doge is up the way it is, I don't know. Celsius Network, the Cell token, is up 29% at 233. Now, it was over, wasn't it over $3? Like 340 something, I thought. It was like 340 something at one time. On a 7-day, it's up 21%. I mean, it's up 29%. And, you know, the sell short squeeze is what it is. So that's the market, guys. The market is just doing what the freaking market does. Nothing really to report there. Yeah, nothing really to report there, I have to say. Look at Osmosis. Osmosis in the top 100. How about that? Got me a ton of that Osmo. Nice. All right, so what else we got? Let's go over this. Let's go over this thing here. This is the whole. This is the whole here. This is the whole. What happened to my? Is it this? What happened to my thing there? I don't know what happened to it, but let's try to see if we can open it again. Gonna show this hole here. This is not a great look. Yeah, 2.85 billion. 2.85. This is a Celsius Network law firm. 2.8 Kirkland and Ellis LLP. And when you go to the numbers, 2.85 billion, you know, that's a problem. I mean, that's close to $3 billion. And they talking about reserves. So in the report, it does state that there is some reserves. So all of the assets, quote unquote, are technically not on here. All the assets are not on here. Please take further notice that copies of the budget and coin report and other pleadings filed in the above captioned Chapter 11 cases may be obtained free of charge by visiting. Yeah, you may also coin You may also obtain copies of any pleadings. So they talk, if you go to this cases.straddle.com/Celsius, cases.straddle.com, STRETTO.com/Celsius, you can get the coins, right? So you can have a listing of the coins. You get Bitcoin, they got the wrap Bitcoin. But this disbursement, these operating expenses it ain't going to cut it. They're in the hole. They're just in the hole. 2.85 billion coin liabilities, deployment and other coin assets. They're talking about where they got stuff on 5 blocks and staking, loans, DeFi exchange and trust, net coin position. It's not a great look. I mean, the mining is in the hole, roughly 10 million. You've been making 8 million, but when you factor in the operating expenses, it's just not a great look, guys. 2.85 billion in the hole. Let me say that again. So that's nearly 3 billion in the hole. But the court case, I got to tell you, that Judge Glenn guy is really, really sharp. And for an older gentleman, he really, really seems to be in the know about what's going on. So like I said, I've been in a couple of Telegram groups. Celsius has a custody account. They have Celsius Custody Accounts is a group. Then there's Celsius Loan and Ideas is another group. There's a withholding group as well. Because apparently there were Celsians who got their assets put in custody, I believe, and custody accounts were not allowed or something along those lines. The Texas securities people are at this live hearing, and they're not happy with anything Celsius does, and they are objecting to anything that might be in favor for Celsius. So this Texas securities thing is going strong, and they are doing some big time things. I'm going to go over a Twitter page from David Adler. He's a bankruptcy attorney, and he's on the call. He's been giving some really good updates. And I got to tell you, this Judge Glenn, like I said, really sharp. My takeaway from both David Adler's tweets and from both the Telegram, the Celsius custody and the loans Telegram, is that the judge is not happy with the custody situation. So there were some people that did move their crypto from earn to custody. You know, even with the bad news and everything, they moved it to custody prior to April 15th or whatever that day is. And the judge is really on the fact that he wants those custody people with those custody accounts to get their crypto, and crypto, not US dollars. So both Kirkland, the law firm for Celsius, and the UCC in the court, you know, everyone agreed that those assets should be returned in kind. So that is really good for custody accounts. Now, I'm going to go over some of David's stuff, and then I'm going to kind of give my commentary, because overall, Judge Glenn is sharp, and you get a sense that his heart, you know, again, this is my opinion, his heart bleeds for the people that got affected by this, and he wants to do what he can. So let me see where I want to start. All right, so here it is. Celsius T-minus 10 minutes. I'll try to tweet the highlights. This is from David Adler during the hearing, bankruptcy attorney. I have a feeling that the judge is going to tell the debtors that the cash spend has to decrease immediately. By the way, this is still going on. New agenda just filed. There are 4 contested motions: cash management, sales of Bitcoin mined, and something called de minimis sales, and 4 wages. Critical trade vendors resolved. Okay. So judge indicated that he had read the letters from, because a lot of people wrote into the judge, and will be making comments on some of those letters. That's a really, really good sign that he's reading these letters. All right, Celsius Network says the media is fake news. Judge noted that a press report indicated that Celsius run out of cash by October, and Celsius law firm was response to that was the media is fake news. Debtors say they are committed to return crypto in kind. Well, truth is in the pudding, so we'll see. So that would be Celsius saying they're committed to returning crypto in kind. Celsius bankrupt increase of crypto will go to customers. He neglects to note that because the company is crypto short, so every dollar increase in crypto just makes the insolvency gap greater. So, which is really, really a problem. So the committee is not wedded to stand alone. Committee is not wedded to standalone plans. The Celsius Network has something called, they're calling a standalone plan, which is another company. That's Celsius plan. One part of their plan is another standalone company. Committee is the UCC, the Unsecured Creditors Committee, is not wedded to standalone plan. Committee has resolved all objections on the motions. Only objections are the UST and Texas Securities Board. I don't know what not wedded means, but committee has resolved all objections on the motion. Only objections are Tether, UST, and Texas Securities Board. So these are, I don't know, this must be some people, I don't know what UST and Texas Security is. United States, Texas, and Texas Security Board, probably. Judge Glenn, what's the business model going forward given all the regulatory issue? Judge Glenn says, it looks, does he want to know what's this model going forward? What's that going to look like? That's given all the regulatory issues. Again, the fact that he's bringing that up says that he knows it's going to be very, very challenging for Celsius Network to move forward, given all the regulatory issues like Simon Dixon was saying. They don't have, Celsius Network doesn't have and never had the licenses that they need. We were misled on that. It looks like to me the mining business is unprofitable, says Judge Glenn. I need to understand the economics better. That's a quote unquote. Judge Glenn said custody accounts set up. He said it looked like the custody accounts were set up recently and wants to know whether there are insider slant employees in custody accounts. And so this is a big thing for me, is the fact that he's asking and he's so concerned about the custody accounts and when they were set up. So that leads me to believe, now, he addresses publicly in this hearing the possible insider thing. So the thing that he brings up, and I think it's just a small thing, that he's doing two things. Number one, he's bringing up, letting both sides know that he's concerned about these custody accounts. And he just throws a softball out there about insider, right? So he's saying that, did insiders, since they would know and be familiar with the whole, and since they would also know that Celsius was moving to this custody and earn because the custody is yours, did the insiders know ahead of time and thus move anything that they had in earn and move it to custody? The judge brought up that concern. Now, some people in the Telegram are saying, well, why, if they knew the company had a hold, why wouldn't the insider just withdraw? Well, because they have a hold. So the talk amongst the board CEO leading the charge would be to keep that on there, right? As opposed to taking it off and creating a bigger hole. But if something goes bad, we got this custody thing, and you'll be able to get your stuff from custody. So in my opinion, the judge is very savvy and understands the angles here, because it would make perfectly good sense to have a custody account, and have the people in the know move stuff into custody. Okay, that would be right. To me, that just makes perfectly good sense. And the judge, I believe, is on this. He brought it up, and I think he's going to probe more about these custody accounts going forward, about the, the more about the custody accounts. And I think just step one is the insider avenue, that people that worked at Celsius or on the inside may have known about this whole and moved them stuff from earn, right, to custody ahead of everybody else, if you will. Judge Glenn, quote unquote, custodial account issues should be resolved sooner rather than later. Lift stay motion should be filed that it is not property of the estate. He doesn't mention possible preferences, says David Allen. So the judge, again, is really, it's about 4% of what's on the platform. It's about $180 million in custody, but that, for some people, getting those access to those funds is going to be, a game changer. And the judge is wanting this thing to be resolved sooner than later. He didn't rule on it today, but my guess is that, second or third thing hearing, he's going to rule on that and get those in-kind crypto to people. In kind. Now the loan thing, not much on the loans right now. I'm not hearing much on the collateral in the loan, but it felt like from what I was going through that the judge was treating those collateral in the loan as like, that's their collateral. Why wouldn't they get it? I know that part of my collateral that I had in loan was moved to custody. It wasn't moved to earn, it was moved to custody. So in any case, I think that's what was done. Settlement and Space have endorsed that the regulation doesn't apply to accredited investors. Therefore, the inference is that business model can go forward and be limited to accredited investors for earn. Obviously, he's got this as a quote, but doesn't say who said this. I think this was the law firm, Kirkland and Ellis, who said that. Judge asked for terms of use to trace the regulatory issues, and that's why he asked for all versions of the terms of use to be filed. And this is, again, very, very, very savvy move here, because ultimately, the judge is very, 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 very aware of exactly what Simon Dixon is pointing out. The Celsius network has a lot of regulatory issues, and he's probably also heard from other states, like the Texas Securities Board, about these regulatory issues. Individuals raising their personal issues, they are heartbreaking, says David. So the judge allowed 3 people who were on the freaking Zoom, 3 account holders, to give some testimony about their situations. 2 were custody, and 1 was a person just like, I need my money yesterday. How can I get my money? I can't afford to take care of my family. That's what all my money's locked up, that kind of stuff. Individual asked whether the SEC, this was very, very interesting. One of the people said, individual asked whether the SEC allowed Celsius to grandfather old earn accounts, asking Judge Glenn for his legal opinion. Now that is, to me, absolutely massive, and I'm glad that it was brought up before the court, because this is a huge, huge thing. It's whether the SEC allows Celsius to grandfather old earn accounts, or does Celsius do it on their own? Again, misrepresentation, deception, deceiving. These are going to be things brought up in all these class action lawsuits. All these class action lawsuits. So the big $64 million or $1 trillion question is, does Celsius do the earn in custody account merely because of the accredited and non-accredited, or did they do that, the whole grandfathering thing, to keep non-accredited U.S. investors on the platform? On the platform. Because this whole grandfathered in so that you could still earn rewards means that these people were keeping their assets in the earn. And that's why asking the question about the SEC is what I've been saying on this channel, is the SEC is the one should also be sued here in this case, right? Because the SEC, who else brought that up? Well, some other attorneys who brought that up. It's like, why isn't the SEC not being held accountable? This is what I was saying. 90 days of investigation. Or does Celsius do this whole grandfather thing on their own? They do it on their own. It's not on the SEC. But if SEC allow them to do it, that's another thing. All right, so here talking about the loaners. He didn't say much after this, but 23,000 retail borrowers. Glenn asking about collateral amount. K&E, the law firm for Celsius, dodging, saying that it has suspended liquidations and margin calls. Debtor is looking at two issues. Is the collateral really collateral? And two, do loaners have right if set off? That's a big, big deal. Oh, really? Okay. Okay. So, you know, and that's a really, really big, big deal. Hold on one second, guys. Hold on one second. Let me do this. So, yeah, so that's a big deal there. Again, David Allen giving us some really big updates. I think it's important to note. I'm going to end the video here, and I'm going to come back and finish here in a second. I have to hop off. But guys, Judge Glenn really seems in favor of the deposit holders. That's really a great sign. Very, very savvy to be an older gentleman. That's very exciting. The U.S. trustee not happy with Celsius and the lack of reporting the numbers. Not happy at all. So overall, really, really good. Again, it's still going on, but really good first hour and a half of this hearing. So I'm excited for you. Excited for everyone. I'll keep you updated in with another video later in the day. All right, guys, listen, I'm going to wrap it up. I hope this has been of value to you. Do me a favor, hit that like button and hit the subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you know when we go live, when we do upload any videos. Keep your head up, guys. I'll keep you updated. I'm going to end this video like I do all of my videos and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. They don't want us to win. They would rather that we remain a cog in their perpetual wheel of trading our time for dollars. They don't want us to play in the same playground that they play in, where we allow our money to work for us. This is our chance to win, guys. The digital asset space is our chance to win. We are in the midst of the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of man. Are you participating, or are you standing on the sidelines? Here's what I do know, that the battle for you has already been fought, and the victory is yours. Go get it.